We're on air. Hello,
We're on.
everybody.
Hello. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year from all over the world.
Yes.
So we're so excited about having you all with us for this hangout. There's been like a lot of registrations coming in from basically from all over the world, and we're all like really, really, really excited. I am Teresa Stoa. I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator, and we're doing this hangout as to kind of pose the big question of what else is really possible for 2015 beyond what you've ever thought was ever possible, beyond what you've ever imagined, beyond what you've ever seen around you, and beyond what you have ever thought that you could actually create in your life for you and for the people you connect with or come in contact with. So I have with me Adele and Sylvia, and I will let you guys introduce yourselves.
Cool. Adele, you want to start?
Sure. Hi, I'm Adele King, and I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator. And I'm so excited to be a part of this hangout because I've been asking what else is possible for 2015, and just as we're talking about it and the energy that's coming up, and the way that Teresa has invited us to this is really exciting, and we're going to get more into that. And for me, Access Consciousness has been tools that have transformed my life, and it's part of why I'm so excited about this is like what else is possible in the year ahead. I'm so excited to find out, and the things that I've found with Access is more joy, more ease in my life, creating magic, playing with bodies and the change that we can create through our body, through the questions that we ask. And I'm so excited to be part of this and to invite you guys to more of that. So yeah, and if you have any questions, I'm monitoring the Facebook event page, and we've got you can ask questions in the Google Hangout, and I'll be keeping my eye on those things.
Cool. We're so
Sylvia,
excited.
tell us about you.
About me, yes. My name is Sylvia Kusuma, and I'm a bars facilitator. And I am so excited for this Google Hangout. My year of 2014 has been much more than I asked, than I has expected. So I'm just looking for what else is possible behind the door 2015, and yeah, I'm so excited, and I would like to explore it with you. So welcome.
Cool. So should we just get started? What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes.
And I would really encourage anyone, those of you who are watching, to just send in your questions, like whatever it is. If you're wondering what it is that you could create beyond in 2015, or where you're stopping yourself, or whatever, if there's something we say that's crazy and you wonder if we can expand on it, just put in your questions there, because it's really fun for us to interact with you guys. Even though you can't speak, we can see your questions, and we're live here with you, so that would be awesome if you would do that. And it was really interesting. Yesterday I was at a New Year's Eve party. It was New Year's Eve here yesterday. I'm in Sweden, so we're a little bit behind whichever part of the world has New Year's before that, probably Asia and Australia. And it was really interesting. We did this thing where everyone who was there was supposed to write down their
The New
pluses and
Year's
minuses.
resolutions.
No,
Oh no. Okay, sorry.
the pluses and minuses for 2014, and then what they wanted in 2015. And it was two things that were really interesting about that for me, because as I wrote my own stuff, I was like, my plus for 2014, what I have created in 2014 that I'm excited about and grateful for, was like really, really long. And then minuses, I had to really, really think, like, what are some minuses? And I came up with a couple of things that were like, just because I didn't bother to do them. And then I tapped into the energy of what I wanted to create for 2015, and I was like, wow, this is going to be a cool year. This is going to be awesome. And the other thing I thought was really interesting was that I don't think it's really that common for people to to know that they can ask for something that where they're not just improving on something that they don't like. So we're so used to kind of, we find something in our life that doesn't work, and then we're used to like, okay, I'm gonna make this work for next year. That's my goal for next year. So I would just like to invite everyone to take a look at, what if you didn't have to improve on anything or fix anything in your life right now? You could just choose different and choose more and choose beyond. What would that be? What would be kind of what are you aware of, as maybe just as an energy, or maybe as a practical, something you already know what it looks like, but what is it that you could ask for that's not about fixing or solving, but more about adding joy to your life, or something that you find valuable to your life or to the world or to the people around you? So that's when I think it starts to become really fun to talk to people about what they want to create. So what do you guys have as your, what is it that you would like to create beyond what you've ever imagined possible, Sylvia and Adele, for 2015?
So much. The areas that I've been looking at for myself personally are creating something completely different in relationship and financially with business, um, and really playing in like what's possible that's not based on the norm or how people do things or what I've seen around me, and really looking at like what do I know and what's possible that isn't based on somebody else's dream or somebody else's reality, or their choices, and looking at, okay, what would I like to create? What would that look like for me? And then having the courage to choose it.
Right, that's a big part too. Like, but and what if you have more courage than you've ever given yourself credit for, though?
Yes, yes, yes. And then there's that space between like making a choice in my head and actually taking the action steps. And I think that's one of the things that's so beautiful about you, Teresa. You don't have that weird space. You're like, oh, it's just, you just choose it. Like, and I know that when we first met, I was in that space of like, oh, I'd really like to move to San Francisco. I was living in New York, and I was like, I've kind of chosen it, but I haven't. You were like, just choose it. Like,
Yeah.
did you choose it or not? Like, are you choosing it? And I was like, yes, I'm choosing it. And that was really that conversation that we had, which was probably like a 2-minute conversation, really has totally changed my life. I moved across the country. I've met amazing people. And in terms of what's different in the past year and a half, I mean, my life outside is completely transformed. So I mean, it's, what else is possible? You know, so much can change in a year if you're willing to choose it. And that's where I'm so grateful to be part of this. And what you're inviting everyone to is that willingness to choose whatever it looks like, whatever it takes. It's just a choice.
Exactly. And I love that because you actually were the one who chose it. I thank you so much for saying that I was like a contribution to you and in you making the choice, but you were actually the one who chose it. Like, you were the one who got your ass off your couch and packed your bags and went over to San Francisco.
Yes.
Yes. And I apologize, guys, for looking down. I'm tracking your questions and things on my phone, so I want to make sure that everyone's able to get on the Hangout. We've had some technical questions, and some other questions are starting to come in. So yay!
Love that you do that, Adele, because I quite honestly don't know that I could do that. Yeah, so Sylvia, what's your big 2015 beyond?
Oh
What
my
would that
God.
be?
Yeah, that's really so. Well, I have almost similar um, questions like Adele, like, well, financial situation with relationship also. And what I like is about you, Therese, is that you're not judging when when you facilitated me. I was like, okay, I'm probably not choosing that at this 10 seconds, and you were like, oh, that's okay, well, then don't choose it this 10 seconds, that's fine. And I can come with you with maybe craziest idea, and I said craziest is like in this reality that's not possible. And I'm talking about in this reality is that people will probably will judge me about when I'm talking about stuff, but you're not. You're like, okay, is that really what you really want? And can I ask some questions and blah blah? And and that's opened so much possibilities for me, and especially the non-judgment part of you. That's so yummy, and that's what I would like to have for 2015 also for myself. If I want to create something beyond my imagination, that I was like, okay, that's fine, maybe not this 10 seconds, maybe next time, but that's fine. So yeah, that's ooh.
I love that. I love the energy that comes up with that too. And I love it when you say the non-judgment part, because I think for me the whole like start of creating beyond, or starting of creating what you know is possible, because if you've been looking at some access stuff, I'm just saying this for the people who haven't done any access consciousness
Yeah,
before, but
never
there's
never
always,
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, so there's something, and I get like almost like goosebumps talking about this, because there's something that every single one of you guys out there know and be, that you are the only person in the world that know that and be that. And you may not have a clue what that is yet, but I love it when you were talking about that, Sylvia, about going like not judging yourself for the choices
Yeah.
you are making or not making, because for me that's kind of the beginning of starting to open up that door of exploring what is it that I know that other people might not know, or that is slightly different from what everybody else seems to know about. And oh, it's such a gift when you really start to not judge yourself based on your choices and based on what you're doing or not doing, but start to ask the question of what is it that I know? What is it that I could create that no one else could create? And just kind of start to take the first step. Because I don't know how your experiences are with this, but for me, it's always, I never have a clear picture of what it's going to look like in the end when I start creating something or start choosing something that's kind of way out there and not something that people normally choose or do. But it's kind of like this being an allowance of yourself and being like, you know what, this feels really like me. Gives me a sense of me, so I'm going to take this one first step, and then something else shows up that kind of matches the energy too, and you go there. And then in that way of like one step, one step, one step, one step, suddenly you have created a whole other possibility for someone, or maybe more people, or maybe the world, or maybe just for yourself that wasn't there before. So that's the cool thing about starting to ask that question, I think, about what's really possible that you don't even know that you know yet, and what's unique about you, and what's your awesomeness that the world hasn't even seen 1% of yet.
I so, Teresa, I so love what you're talking about, and that, like, how much freedom is there in being able and being willing to choose something without having a clear idea of what it's going to look like. To me, that's so, like, I mean, do you realize how different that is? Most people are like, well, I have to know exactly what it is and all of the details,
Yes.
and everything has to be like, and that used to be like growing up, it was like, oh, I have this amazing idea, and like my parents were like, oh, here's a million questions. And by the time they'd ask their million questions, I was like, you're right, it's a horrible idea, like I won't choose it. And it's like, what can show up? What can we invite when we're willing to choose without having to have all those answers? Um, and have that faith in ourselves, like know that we know something and be willing to choose it without having all of the answers, um, and have to be able to define it and outline it sometimes you can't explain it. Like when you came to me with this call series, and you were like, well, I have a name for it, and I know
Yeah.
what I know what the energy is. I know what I'd like to invite people to, but there's not really words for it. It's really something that hasn't existed before, and that's really, I mean, how many people are inviting someone to, like, what do you know that's never existed before, maybe anywhere, ever, and I know that you can create it, that you can choose it, you can have it, whatever that is, whatever it looks like. What do you know? It's to me, it's so cool hearing you talk about how and where you function from, and how you choose and you create, because it is so different, and to me it's such an invitation. I'm like, oh yes, that I would love to have more of that, and that for me is why this call series is so exciting.
And that's like
We
so cool for
actually,
you to. Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna put in this small information in there because you addressed it so perfectly. Because the things you recognize in me that is very different and inspiring to you, I have no idea that that's what's different about me. So that's what I would like to, for
yeah,
everyone to realize that all of you have something that is so different about you that for you is totally normal. For you it's just like that's just how it is. That's how I am. That's isn't everybody like this? And then you meet someone like you have
nope,
gorgeous friends like Adele or Sylvia or other people and they're like if you are fortunate enough to have people in your surroundings that will actually acknowledge you for you know what that is so different and that's so inspiring to me then that's like an awesome way to start to acknowledge what is different about you. So what is it that people are commenting on or giving you feedback on or acknowledging you for that's different about you that for you is totally normal and no big deal that you kind of just like brushed under the carpet as that's nothing. So what is that that might be really 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 unique about you? And that would be a huge contribution, gift, and inspiration to all the people you come in contact with. And that will maybe give them a piece that they require to create even greater of whatever it is that they're doing. Okay, I know I've fried some brains. So everything that doesn't allow you to see that, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Good and bad, right and wrong, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. That was the Access Consciousness clearing statement. And there's a full description of what that is on, what is it, theclearingstatement.com, the webpage?
yeah, theclearingstatement.com, and
Exactly.
I think there's a recording, an audio recording too, with Dr. Dane here, who's a co-founder of Access Consciousness, and he explains each part of it. It's basically short speak, that allows us to change anything. So we ask a question, which is a process or a tool of access, and it brings up a certain energy. And the clearing statement, it's like if you had a big oak tree, it goes back to the seed and just disappears the whole oak tree that's in your way. And it allows those limitations that keep us from choosing and to keep us from asking for and having greater to just vanish. And it's so weird because sometimes it seems like, oh, nothing has changed, and then I was in my kitchen like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, where would I be if I hadn't found access? And this energy came up, and it was really yucky. It was like, oh, I'd still be at home in my parents' house, like in the bedroom that I grew up in, like not doing very much. And it was like, wow. So when I look at that and like where I was and where I would have been if I hadn't found access and hadn't been using this clearing statement and the tools, and then I look at where I am now and the people in my life and the things that I'm doing and what I'm creating and what's showing up and how different it is between those two things. Oh my gosh, the clearing statement is magic. So grateful for it. So if you have questions about what it is and how to use it, theclearingstatement.com will answer it, give you more information about that. We do have a question on the Facebook event.
Yes.
Would you like?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So Cindy asked, when something great I'm working on is almost about to happen, always something strange happens in my life, so it won't happen anymore. How can I break this cycle?
So, good question. So what I would just ask some questions and see what can change about that. So when you're, one thing is like, are you willing to, what comes up is like unleash onto the world your brilliance with your creations. Um, and if that's a no, would you destroy and uncreate all of that? Good and bad, right and wrong, all nine podpoc, shorts, boys and beyonds. And also kind of like, what would it take to be as fierce as to keep choosing, even in the midst of chaos? So what I know about the people that are really, really diligent about getting where they want to go, or creating what they want to create, or like actualizing whatever they know is possible, is that they kind of make that their top priority. So what would it take for you to value your creations of what you're creating in the world so much that regardless of what happens in your life around you, you would still make it a priority to choose to actualize it and get it out there? Even if your house burns down, even if there's a big tragedy, even if your whole country goes on strike, whatever it is, what would it take for you to find a way to choose to get it out there? Like, make it your priority because it's important to you. So that's some of the questions that I would ask myself if that was coming up for me constantly. I would be like, okay, what am I not willing to choose, or what am I making a higher priority than actually getting this out there? Does that help? Do you guys have anything to add?
I do. There's this thing that I've heard about, and where creations take a life of their own, and there's a point where we put energy in, and we put energy in, and we put energy in, and then it changes when it starts to form its own self, and it kind of shifts. So is that the point where where it's changing that pattern? Have you kind of gotten stuck with that, where it shifts, and what is required? Maybe something different is required at that point. Maybe you can, and this is a little weird, but you can actually ask your creations and like having a conversation with them. What do you require of me? What would you like to be like? Who or what do I need to talk to that would make this greater? So there are all kinds of tools that you can use, and just asking questions, opens up and gives you more information. So is it that actually less like doing is required, and it's an energy at that point, and it's taking on a life of its own? And then so the thing is, if you don't acknowledge it, then, and you decide like, oh, it's destroying itself, then that's what you're going to create, because your point of view will actually create that. So is it that it's falling apart, or is it that it's becoming something different? And if you acknowledge that, and then you can approach it differently at that point, I wonder what else is possible. I wonder what your creations can grow and show up as then. Yeah, so if you have more question about that, or yeah, I'm curious how does that sit with you, Cindy?
Awesome. And it was I like the possibility there to be asking the question, what is possible here beyond what I've ever imagined possible? And what are the possibilities that I'm not even seeing here? And what are the possibilities for this creation, whatever it is? And also, like, it can be useful to connect with people, for me anyway, because sometimes during the time that I've been doing Access, I've been getting a lot of like really, really awesome friends that are so amazing at asking questions without judging whatever I'm asking about, without judging me or telling me that I'm wrong or saying that it can't be done or anything like that. But they're just awesome at giving me like new questions that I haven't thought about asking. So if I get stuck, I would probably look at choosing to call one of my Access friends to say, hey, you know what, this area is getting a little stuck. Could you help me to look at this? What is going on here? And is it something going on that I'm not acknowledging, or what's right about this I'm not getting?
Love that question.
Yeah.
What's right about this? I'm not getting it. And have your bars wrong. That helps
Oh,
a lot
yes.
too. Yeah.
Yes. We have another question.
Awesome.
From Lola. What is a clearing that can totally destroy and uncreate all the agreements fulfilled and not fulfilled in 2014 and before, so one isn't carrying that energy into 2015? I've been clearing and breaking oaths from this is listed as a separate question, but it sounds kind of a continuation, so I'm going to read the second question too. I've been clearing and breaking oaths from past relationships, and it's helped, but it's still not totally done. Is there a clearing to wipe the slate clean from past attachments, especially when there are patterns and that one can't identify that need to be destroyed and uncreated? And before you jump in, Teresa, I just want to address, in response to this, something that you were talking about, which is like, and yes, I'm sure that we can clear it. And one of the brilliant things that you said about choosing is like, okay, there's all these things and there's all this stuff, and you can sit and you can clear and you can dig through. And it was actually part of my demand when I found Access. I had been in therapy, and it was a lot of like, oh, where are you? And looking at the past and family. And it was like digging through the muck and digging through the muck and not getting anywhere. And I was like, enough. Like, I want to look at where I am, where I'd like to be. I know it can be fun and joyful. And that was my demand when Access showed up. So it's like, yes, we can clear if there are things standing in your way. We have that clearing statement. We have tools. There are questions. And it's like, what if that wasn't relevant? Like, what if you could just choose from where you are to where you'd like to be? What do you know? And what if, just like you were saying before, like nothing is going to stand in your way. Nothing is greater or more important. And what if you could just choose it anyway? Whatever the oaths are, whatever you've committed to in the past, whatever you've done or not done, like, what can you choose right now in this 10 seconds from where you are with what you have, and go? Like, just go.
Yeah.
And know that the universe has your back, and that when you choose it, it'll show up.
And that's probably one of the things that I say a lot or use a lot. The stuff that you just said about what if that none of that stuff even mattered? What if you could choose anyway? That's one of the things that I think I'm very diligent at addressing that when people are avoiding choice in order to clear everything that's in their way before they choose. And it's one of the things that is the most annoying things to hear, I know, when you're there. So I have pissed a lot of people off with saying exactly that, and I still think it's a super effective place to look from. Like, okay, what if none of this was relevant? What could I choose?
Yeah.
And that being said, it sounds like you're already doing the clearings. You obviously have some clearings, and also there's this awesome, quite basic tool, or what is basic tool? Like, I still use the basic tools every day, even though I've done Access for a while, so I don't even know what a basic tool is. But one of the first things that I heard in Access was this idea of destroy and uncreate your relationship with all of your friends, all of your family, your business, your husband, or whoever you have around you. I even destroy and uncreate my relationship with myself every day when I go to bed at night. And then
Money?
what?
Money?
Destroy
Money.
and create your relationship with money?
Yes, exactly. And then see what shows up the next day. And what can you choose then when it's not, because I think it's kind of cool way to take you out of functioning from what has been in the past. And that being said, there's also, if something keeps tugging on your awareness, keep kind of gently, what do you call that, tapping on you for in some way, like your attention constantly gets drawn to something, take a look at it and see if there's a commitment or an obligation. Is there something you are required to do about that? Like, is there something that you're required to address to kind of resolve it, or is there any, what do you need to do about that to kind of get it over with, to get it out of your universe? And is there also a lie there, spoken or unspoken, if it keeps on happening? So there are some of the tools that you could look at, and choice trumps everything. So choose whatever you would like to choose, and don't make it any more relevant than it needs to be. Because that's
And
one of the, sorry.
oh, go ahead, finish.
Okay, so just making it relevant, we tend to, I'm really great at this sometimes, where I can make things really relevant to me so that I don't have to choose differently. So I don't know if anyone else have ever done this.
No.
I thought it was just me.
Exactly, just you guys. No, I do this sometimes where before I kind of catch myself, I notice that I can go into making something really, really significant for me or really relevant, and it's a super way of distracting me from what it is that I would truly like to create. So take a look at that too. Like, how many things are you guys using to distract you from bringing your awesomeness to the world, or really stepping up in a whole different playing field where you could be like, okay, this is what I'm here to create. This is what's important to me. I don't care about any of the other stuff. What is it that's standing in your way? And what is it that you can say like, oh, you know what, this is totally irrelevant. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not even important to me, really. So fuck that. I'm going to create my reality now.
Yes.
Go ahead, Adele. That was what I wanted to say.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Um, I'm also just wondering what capacities are under a lot of the things that that people struggle with. Because as you were saying that about like something tugging on you, uh, it's like a lot of the places where we have a hard time, there's actually a capacity underneath. Um, and I was thinking about, like, this may be too much information, but like last night I went out, right, New Year's Eve parties, and everyone's drinking, and um, and like, just being around all that drinking is like really challenging for me. And I was wondering, like, what capacity do I actually have with like taking drugs and alcohol out of people's bodies, or all the like entities and things going on around, and like being aware of where people are functioning from. And so I'm wondering, with these oaths and these vows, and for Lola, like, what capacity do you actually have under that? Is there a capacity there? Is there something that maybe you're aware of that you can be using for you towards your creation, instead of letting it pull you backwards or sticking you? So I'm just another question. I'm wondering, what capacity is there?
Yes, great question. And that's like, I think often the case with anything we judge about ourselves too. Like, I tend to find that the things that we're judging ourselves the most for, or for not being, is actually one of our capacities. Like, one of the things that we are doing differently, or that we're really great at, or have a really easy time with. And then for some reason we twist that into being judgments, where we're not good enough, or not doing it right, or all of that stuff. So if you would like take a few, even like a week, and just look at every time you notice judging yourself, ask the question, okay, what capacity, talent, or ability do I have here that I'm not acknowledging? What would what would show up? I so like, I I can't say how grateful I am for access to actually start to look at this judgment of yourself stuff, because for me that's where you, once you start to look at a different possibility of how you feel about yourself, I'm just gonna like use that word feel about yourself, because that's, yeah, basically something that we get what we mean. So when you start to notice how you feel about yourself, that you might not even be aware that's how you feel about yourself, and then start to choose something different, like, okay, is it really worth my time going around judging myself for all these crazy things, or is it gonna like create much more fun in my life if I just started to look for the cool stuff? And when you come out of that constant judging is where you can actually open up those talent, abilities, and capacities that you have that nobody else has, which is kind of also what we're addressing with the question, what do you know? And once you start to access that, that's when you can kind of align your talents, abilities, capacities, what you know, with what is important for you, like on this planet. Like if you took a moment to just think about what is really important for me in life in general, like what is really important for me and what is it that kind of um, makes me really excited when I talk about it, or that I just wish I could get people to get what I'm getting about this. So what are those things that are so important for you that you could actually pair those up with your talent, capacities, and abilities and start to create that as the reality? Because most of the times, or a lot of the times, what's important to you might not even be here in this reality, not in the way that you would know it's possible for it to be here. So what if you could like use it, use your talents, capacities, and abilities, give yourself your job to like, okay, I'm going to look for the talent, capacities, and abilities beyond every judgment or behind every judgment, because it's so freaking important to me to create this possibility that I'm aware of that is important to me.
Wow. I love
Yeah.
I love that, because so many, it's like people come to Access and we talk a lot about judgment and not judging yourself, um, and I think what a lot of people do with that is they judge themselves for judging themselves, which actually just creates more judgment. And that's like such a different way to approach it. And it actually is like, okay, cool, like here's a judgment. And what it's like, here is a tool for what you can do differently with that. It's like, okay, cool, I have a judgment. Like now it's exciting. Like, okay, great. What's beyond that? What do I actually like know? And it's like, now it's like, okay, cool, I just judged myself. Like, what else is possible? But like, what there's a gift in there now. So thank you for that. That's really cool. I'm gonna put that in my pocket, hang on to it. And we have a question, a couple more questions. Sana, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, asked, when choosing for me, like joining this hangout, I get all bubbly from the feeling, knowing I'm choosing what's right for me, yet often I find myself not being able to hear what is being said. What is this? What am I not choosing to hear? I love this question.
I love it too, Sana.
Yes, and it's pretty more common than you would think, like not being able to hear what's being said. And I just want to address first, like you said, once you choose for you, it makes you all bubbly. So that bubbly, that's you perceiving an energy of possibilities, probably. Uh, so is it really required for you to even hear what we're talking about, or are you getting the energy of what we're inviting you to that's way beyond the words? Because my words are not, I don't have enough vocabulary, and definitely not in English, to even try to put words on the energy that we're inviting you to and the possibilities that we're inviting you to. There's like so much stuff going on in the, what do you call that, in the behind the scenes of when we're talking, that is energy speak. And so if I would ask you, Sana, are you getting the energy of what we're inviting you to beyond the words? And are the words actually not even relevant in that sense to you and what you know is possible? So that's one thing. And then when there's also the piece about when you can't hear what we're talking about is probably your item. Gary used to say that in class, like once when you see my mouth move and you think I'm speaking Chinese or I'm definitely not speaking English anymore, that's probably when we're saying something that is like your item, uh, and something that could change a lot for you. So how about just playing the stuff over and over until you actually hear the words as well?
Yeah.
What would that create?
And it's okay that it's not that you cannot hear it the first time. That it's okay. I'm just wondering if she's blaming herself about that.
No, she would probably never do that. And and also, so what if the so let's because it was kind of cool because that's an example of if you would judge yourself for not hearing that, what is
Mhm.
the talent, capacity, or ability behind that judgment that is actually a part of the greatness of you? So, do you,
Mhm.
for instance, do you have a enormous capacity for receiving and getting energies? Are you way faster than you've given yourself credit for, and our worries are just too slow for you because this download of energetic awareness of the possibilities are way much more fun for you to play with? So start asking yourself what could, those are just some possibilities, and it might not be what is true for you. I'm just like giving you some examples of what could be going on, and you feel free to kind of look at it for yourself to see what is actually there true for me. But what if there's a great capacity, talent, or ability there that you could couple up with that thing that you know is possible, that's really important for you, and that you are here to create in the world, that would actually make it take off, super speed, much faster than you've ever thought it was possible to do?
Guys, I'm so grateful. Where else on the planet are people like, oh, here's this thing, here's this problem, here's this judgment that I have, and the response is like, cool, like what's right about you? Like what capacity do you have? What do you actually know? Who else is doing that? Like everywhere on the planet is about like, oh yeah, well you should listen harder or you
Mhm.
should
Do you
like
do your
pay
best much
attention,
more better?
like
Yeah.
yeah, like take notes or whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, right, like what do you actually know? What if you're just perceiving the energy? What if you're faster than you realize? I love that. And it's like I mean, I've seen it. I've watched it with the people around me. It's such a gift. And I like thank you for being the invitation to this, Teresa, um, for saying it, for just yeah, I'm so grateful for that. Like, what a gift.
And without all of you other people, without you, Adele, without you, Sylvia, none of this could kind of come out into the world. And so like just that, I just want to, I have to take a sentimental moment here. So, but I wanted to really acknowledge the contribution that every small piece is to whatever's being created. Like all the people watching this, signing up for this, because there was a lot of people contributing with their energy to the the invitation we could be too. And like all of those people are the contribution to the three of us when we're sitting here about what energy can we be as an invitation for 2015 to be beyond what's ever been created before all around the world. How freaking cool is that? And the two of you are like contributing big time to getting this out here in the world. And so it's just so amazing once you start to function from looking for what's great, looking for where can I be a contribution, what is a contribution about me, what about me is a contribution to other people, and what are my talents and capacities and abilities, and what is it that I'm aware of, what is it that I know. Once you start to kind of function from those questions as a way of being in the world, that's when you are the contribution to everyone around you, regardless of whether you understand it, know it, or see it or not, which is the contribution that like all of you are, and you Adele and you Sylvia are like, you have your own vibration of being and your own like uniqueness that is contributing to all the rest of us tuning into this. And what if creating something that has never existed before could include all the other people's talents and brilliances around the world and allow that to contribute to whatever it is that you are creating in the world as well as you being a contribution to everyone else's creations that is beyond what they ever thought was possible or anyone has ever seen before. What if we could create something that's never ever been a possibility in the world in 2015? So are anyone up for the challenge? Like, what if we just start?
Yes.
Yeah. What if we just
Yes.
start? What if we just kind of commit to that? Like, okay, I'm going to create or be a part of creating and contributing to and doing whatever I can to creating a possibility that's never ever been seen on this planet before in 2015. And then when 2015 is over, let's just see what that created. I mean, if you fail, you have to have created something, right? So yeah, I would like to. That's a challenge I want to jump on for me.
Um,
Yeah.
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 So do we have any
As
more
you're
questions? Oh, sorry, Adele.
oh no, that's fine. Let me check. I didn't see any, and let me check. Let me check. I just wanted to say, Sana said, "Thank you, spot on with words speaking being too slow for me at times." So how cool is that? And yeah, what if there's so much more? Someone said that to me one time. They were like, just for a moment, perceive like the energy of the word any word like possibility, right? And there's like the word possibility is like the snowflake on the tip of the iceberg of the energy that actually communicates. And it's like, what if there's so much more in that energy that we perceive? And if you don't perceive the energy or you don't know it, like, please don't judge yourself. Like,
What's right
you know,
about me, I'm not getting.
what's
Yes.
right. And it's like, what if there's so much more that's available to us with that energetic awareness? So I wanted to just address the calls that are coming up, and share with people the titles of the calls and kind of what we had talked about, what that's going to be like. And it's really, as much as we talk about energy and all of these things, and they're very not tangible, when I asked Teresa about the calls and what it is exactly like that her target is with these calls, what it is from her awareness that she's inviting people to, the way that you explained it was so beautiful, and it allowed us to come up with the names for these calls. And it really is a very practical way of creating and choosing greater and tapping into what you know. And so the first call is, what are you not choosing, right? And a lot of us, we have all of these things. We talked about it a little bit before, all the things that we look at, well, I've got this and this and this and this, and this is why I can't choose. So it's like, what is it that you'd like to be choosing? What are you not choosing? And then in Access, we talk a lot about ask and you shall receive. So the second call is, well, once you know what it is that you'd like to be choosing, ask. Ask for it. Ask and you shall receive. What could you be asking for? And we've mentioned a couple times, like, what can you create that's maybe never existed before that you know? It's like, how do you ask for something that doesn't exist, that you don't even necessarily know what it is, that you don't know what it will look like, that you're not sure where to find it or how to create it? It's like, how do you ask for that? How do you tap into it? And then, so the third call is creating beyond anything you've ever seen, anything anyone else knows is possible. And then the fourth call is gifting and receiving done differently. And especially around this time, right, with the holidays and gifts, and it's like, oh, I have to buy this for this person and that, and it's very much about like, oh, this person bought me a gift, so now I need to give them a gift, and it's like, what if there's a completely different possibility? What if the universe is just waiting to gift to you? And one of my favorite images and things that I've heard in Access, Dr. Dane here talks about the universe is waiting to gift to you, and he talks about, like, with money, he's like, it's like there are these little fat cherub angels, and they're carrying these big bags of money, and they're like flying around after you, and they're just waiting for you to ask so they can put these big heavy bags of money down. So it's like, what if you asking the question opens up the door, and there's just a universe that is just waiting to gift and gift. And what can you choose? What if just choosing to ask the question or explore the possibility is the invitation to that receiving and gifting for you, and you being the gift just by asking and being that different possibility in the world that only you know. So
Yeah.
I am really excited about these calls because just in a few short conversations with Sylvia and Teresa, I realized, like, we all function very differently, and it's like, what contribution can we be to each other? What can we learn from each other? And it's you guys out there and your energy that contributes to creating this, and your questions that open up that space of what else is possible. So this is an invitation to come play, and what can we create, and what synergy with all of the energies from all of us coming together, and what we all know, and what else is possible. Like, what magic can we create? I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, me too. I just want to add, like, we're going to have a Facebook group for the people who sign up for the telecall series, the 4-part series, where we're going to be, like, supporting each other. And, like, what would it be like to have, once you go on that road of creating beyond what's ever been known, whatever has been possible before or you've ever seen before, to have people right there with you doing the exactly the same thing, only different because they have their own different awareness and stuff that they know. But, like, having them there as a contribution to you and you to them, and kind of starting this, how do you explain, like, starting this exchange of contribution between you, where it's not like I contribute to you, you contribute to me, but kind of like this just radiant field of contribution to everyone and everything that is willing to have it. And what could that create, and what could that inspire, and what are the practicalities of bringing what you know into the world in a way that it can, like, blossom and take on whatever possibilities that might not be a possibility now, but, like, that will be a possibility once you start to bring it out there into the world. What are the practicalities around that, and what you require to do that? So yeah, I'm beyond excited for this telecall series. I hope you guys will join us and play if you really know that you want to create beyond, beyond, beyond for 2015, and hopefully for many more years to come. So cool. Join us, please.
Yeah. So
What was I going to say? I don't know. I forgot.
You forgot
Oh, I have another
a
question.
question. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lola's asking, is there a clearing to break patterns with love and money that are entrenched? Still here after a lot of bars and verbal processes, just less intense and milder, but still popping up. And my initial response to that would be, who does that belong to?
Mm.
And how much of the things that we use to stop ourselves are what we're aware of around us.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And how can we use that to actually tap into that gifting and receiving, and like what do you actually know about that? What can we contribute to changing that for ourselves and for the people around us?
I totally didn't hear my
Oh,
internet
you
froze
didn't hear
up.
the
Very
question.
Question,
Ah,
yeah.
that's
conveniently, the
interesting.
internet froze up just as you read the questions.
All right,
But
so I'll read it again.
Wow.
if you
Um,
addressed it, that's fine.
Sure, yeah. Lola asked, is there a clearing to break patterns with love and money that are entrenched? Like still here after a lot of bars and verbal processes, just less intense and milder, but still popping up.
Okay. So you probably addressed it. I just wanna, in general, say that like love and money is like two of the most dynamic tools we use to keep ourselves so much smaller and more pathetic than we really are. It's like kind of one of our favorite ways to prove that we're not worth anything. See, I'm not worth anything. I don't have money. Or see, I'm not worth anything. My love life doesn't work, or nobody loves me truly, really easy in a way that I would like them to. So that might be some of the things that would be fun to look at. Would be like, okay, what if I started valuing me and what I know and what I know I'm all about, and started to look for the capacities and the talents and abilities beyond all the judgments, maybe your money situation and your relationship or love, whatever you mean by the love thing, maybe that could change too.
I'm glad that you said that too, because with love, it's almost on the opposite side too, right? We find someone and we love them so much, and then we choose based on what's acceptable to them, or and which is I mean, that's a great way of limiting, right? Like I won't choose what I know or what works for me, or because I love this person so much, and like, wow, okay, cool. And it's not to say that love or relationship is bad. It's like, what if you can have that and you? What if you can have you and have someone? I used to do tarot readings, and people would come, and I would say, like, okay, well, what if it's not about finding your other half? What if it's like you're this awesome hot fudge sundae, and then you can find someone who's going to be like the whipped cream and cherry on top. Like, you're still a really awesome hot
Yeah.
fudge sundae with or without the whipped cream. The whipped cream is that addition that makes it something even greater. So yeah, what else is possible? And that's the thing. It's like, how much of that do we see around in the world, and where does that exist? It's like, what if we can create something totally different with relationship, with money? What if it's not about, hardworking and $1 per minute or whatever, like $20 an hour or whatever it is that,
I don't
um,
know. My
right, like,
I don't know if my image freezes up a lot, but now I don't know if it's my internet connection or what it is, but I'm sorry if it freezes up.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't I don't see anything. Well,
maybe your computer's saying, maybe your
yeah,
computer's trying to tell you something.
Yeah,
but
what's
that's
right about my computer I'm not getting.
what are your computers not willing to receive?
Yes.
But yeah, I would like to add something about that question. Adele from, I think Lola was her name? Is her name?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
Dee's also asking, can you talk a little bit about how making money relevant stops us? I find myself often not choosing something when I don't have money for it. How can I change this?
Yeah. I love
And
that.
I'm loving these questions, and I think this is a lot of that first call of
yes,
what am I not choosing, and where are all the places that we're stopping ourselves, whether it's love or money,
time.
Yes.
time. I don't have time.
And one of the
Yeah.
favorite ones I think is about money, and exactly what Dee said, like finding ourselves choosing something because of, or because we don't have money, or because of money that is going to bring. So what if money has nothing to do with what you choose or not choose? But money is a great way of kind of the way I see money, and this is just for me, like check it out and see if it's something that can contribute to your world. But the way I see money is like a awesome vehicle to expand my world, like expand my world of possibilities, because money will allow you to do some things that you might not be able to institute or create or whatever it is if you don't have any. And that being said, there are still a lot of things that you can choose without money, even if you have no money or regardless of the money. So I would wonder what could change in your money situation if you started to choose from contribution. If you started to make your choices based on what can this contribute to me and what can this contribute to this person or to the world, and make your choices based on that, or simply just will this contribute to someone? If I do this, will it contribute to someone? Yes. Okay. Would it be fun for me? Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll do it. Because what is it they say? Money follows joy. Joy doesn't follow money. So having money will not make you joyful, but you can make yourself joyful, and then the money will come to you. And find out what it is that makes you joyful. Find out what it is that is important to you, and start to look for what's right about you beyond the money, beyond whatever you have right now. And that isn't to say that you're not supposed to take action towards building more money in your life. I would absolutely do that. I had a conversation today with a friend of mine, that is also an access consciousness facilitator, and we were talking about just that. Like, one thing is sitting, clearing energy, making choices. Another thing is to actually go out and do the steps that is required. That's what's backing up your choices. Like, action is backing up your choice. If you do no action, have you really made a choice? I don't think you have. But so what if you would start to kind of choose from contribution and look at, okay, if I'm serious about being wealthy, or if I'm serious about having a certain amount of money, or whatever it is your target is, what do I need to do this week to move me towards that target? Like, what would be a contribution to reach my target? And then I just want to say one thing more about that, because what I notice a lot of people doing, I've been doing it myself quite dynamically over the years, is being really kind of posh about what I'm bothered to do and what I'm not bothered to do. So that would be like, okay, I want to make $1 million, and then no, I'm not going to be bothered to do the stuff that might make me $100, which might not be in your best interest, because if $100 would kind of contribute to your target to get to $1 million, you better get your ass out there and do it, even though it's just $100. Because then, if that becomes really easy for you to make that extra $100, then next month you can ask yourself, okay, what do I have to do this week to make an extra $1,000? And then after a while, maybe it will be to make an extra $10,000, and then all of a sudden you're up there. But you have to start somewhere. So my advice would be like, what if we weren't so posh about what we think is worth it or not worth it? Maybe we could just look at what it would contribute towards our targets or not.
Yeah. Receiving,
Uh,
receiving, and gifting done differently. That's what popped up in my mind.
I love that you say that. One of my favorite stories was about this man who sold $5 vegetable peelers in Union Square in New York City. And you would never really notice him. He was like, it was on the corner, and he'd sit there and he'd peel carrots and he'd demonstrate how good these $5 peelers were. And I had seen him. I'd walked past him. I'd like stood there and watched him a few times. And then one day I was in a hospital waiting room, and there was an obituary for the guy on the news. It turned out he was a millionaire who lived on Park Avenue and wore Brooks Brothers suits every day. And he had made his fortune selling these $5 items, and he'd get up and he'd go to work and he'd sell these little, and he had sold other things throughout his lifetime. But it's like you never know and it can be anything. So thank you for that piece. It's like, what are the possibilities?
Yes, and I think also, like, yes, ask for the possibilities. What else is possible here that I haven't considered that would make me like a lot of money right away? But also look at what is it that I already know is possible right now? Like, what is it that I could do today without waiting for to see new possibilities? Kind of, you can do both. You can do, say you're working selling the $5 things, you can do that, and you can be asking what else is possible that I haven't really even considered yet that would generate even more than this.
Yeah, I love the story, Adele, and also what Therese said. That's why I love Access also. Like in this reality, a lot of people say, "Oh, you say you have to work hard and just do it and just work freaking hard every day." And then with Access, it's like, no, hold on, just you can do action, yes, but use some tools also to get much more well result or creating much more. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to school. Sorry.
Work smarter, not harder. Work smarter. Cool.
Yes, it works. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
So
well,
the event is still on Facebook, and the registration
yeah,
link for the call series is on there. So we invite you to come and play. I mean, I'm so excited because every time I hear Therese talking about possibilities and creating, and there's so much juicy stuff in there, and I just whew, my universe is opening up, and what I know that I'm now able to create, and even that piece of action um, that you were just talking about, Therese, gives me so much more of a sense of like backing up my choices, and for me is so valuable. It's like, okay, good, like now I'm ready to go. I like that's very exciting to me. So I look forward to all the people who are going to come and join us. I know there's some registrations have already come in, and this is really the more the merrier, and what can we all contribute to each other?
yeah,
And maybe we should just add too that the series is going to be a telecall series. So then everyone will be able to speak and ask their questions on the
Yes.
phone with us. We will all
yeah.
be in a big kind of teleconference. So it will be easier to have kind of a dialogue with us. It's not going to be a hangout. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you so much, ladies, for
Thank
this awesome
you.
Thank
hangout. Thank you,
you.
everyone who was joining us
Thank you,
and listening
everybody.
in and contributing with your energy. And I hope that you at least got some sense of or some curiosity about what is it that I really know? What is it that I know that these three ladies on the screen does not know? And what contribution can we be to you? And we would love to hear from you if you have any, whatever it is, feedback, questions, whatever. Just kind of connect with us, and let's see if we can make 2015 the year that we started to create possibilities that have never existed here on planet Earth before. That would be super exciting. So yeah, I would just want to thank Adele, amazing, amazing, brilliant being, for adding and contributing to all the technical stuff that I don't have a clue about here, and for being like such a bubbly. Adele is actually like the translator of my energetic awarenesses that I kind of just throw at her, and then she's able to translate that into like normal people speak. I adore you for that, Adele. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Oh, and
Sylvia,
thank
yeah.
good.
And Sylvia, you too, with your like amazing fantasy photos and your bubbly laughter and the light that you just add to the call. Like, what else is truly possible when the three of us get together and start asking what we can create?
And I
Thank
just
you.
want to say thank you
Yeah.
also to everyone who entered their questions, and for contributing with their questions. Thank you for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you, everybody, and listening to us and being here live also. And Teresa, thank you too.
You're
Yes.
so welcome. It's so much fun to play with you guys. So, talk to you guys soon.
Yes. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye
Happy New
bye. Bye
Year!
bye. Happy New Year.